everybody, and by everybody I probably mean nobody, because there's seldom anyone here. But we'll do our little thing as always. So, for those of you who are not aware, my name is SkitterSkreetch. You can call me Skitter, and I am a little rat who is trapped in the accursed library. Let's switch over to the view of the library. There we go. So, as you can see, this is an increasingly not unstocked library. No, it's mostly still unstocked. This, of course, is not actually the old library. This is just a little segment of shelves what I built to put some good books in. On account of that lamp in the top corner, they told me to. And he is the only source of food I have in there, given that he is able to make cheese out of seemingly nothing. So, as I've been doing pretty much every night for the last little while, I am going to be reading a little bit of something today. Specifically today, we are going to be reading this book here, Dubliners by JamesJoyce, which I'm told is a very good book indeed. However, on top of this book, I have, in today's little searching, managed to find another down here, which is another Jack London, Lost Face. Don't know anything about it, but I figure I've had a couple of issues with the last book I was reading, a couple of rough days where I wasn't feeling so much into it, and so I thought, yeah, let's go get something a little bit shorter, a little bit easier, so if I have a bad day, rather than trying to sort of push on with something like that, I can just do a short one and have it all done inside one day. This one here, though, the main one we're going to be reading today, Dubliners, is quite long by all accounts. It's broken into little sections. So I was thinking I would treat each sort of section in like a short story in itself, or like a chapter book, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, going to read it, and then I'm going to stop after each one, and we're going to do a little bit of analysis. And yeah, hopefully I can get through it at a reasonable rate. You never know. I don't know. My throat's feeling pretty strong today. I don't feel too unwell, so maybe we'll get through the open the night, or maybe we'll take a couple of days on it. We'll see how we go. But yeah, as always, if anyone is here, feel free to say anything if you want me to slow down, want some commentary, anything like that. Otherwise, yeah, I think without much further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So, Dubliners by JamesJoyce. Oh, it's not. These aren't broken up by chapter names. They're just. Okay. The sisters. There were no hope for him this time. With the third stroke, night after night, I'd passed the house with vacation time and studied the lighted square a window. Night after night, I found it lighted in the same way, faintly and evenly. If he were dead, I thought I would see the reflection of candles on the darkened blind, for I knew that 2 candles must be set at the head of a corpse. He had often said to me, "I am not long for this world." I had thought his words idle. Now I knew they were true. Every night, as I gazed up at the window, I said softly to myself the word paralysis. It always sounded strangely in my ears, like the word gnomon in the Euclid, and in the word simony, and the word simony in the Catechism. But now it sounded to me like the name of some maleficent and simple being. It filled me with fear, and yet I longed to be nearer to it and look upon its deadly work. Old Cotter was sitting at the fire, smoking when I came downstairs to supper. While my aunt was labelling out my stirabout, he said, as if returning to some former remark of his. I wouldn't say it was exactly, but there was something queer. There's something uncanny about him. I'll tell you my opinion. He began to puff at his pipe, no doubt arranging his opinion in his mind. Tiresome old fool. When we knew him first, he used to be rather interesting, talking of fates and worms. But I soon grew tired of him and his endless stories about the distillery. I have my own theory about it, he said. I think we're one of those peculiar cases. It's hard to say. He began to puff again at his pipe without giving us his theory. My uncle saw me staring and he said to me, "Well, so your old friend is gone, you'll be sorry to hear." "Who?" said I. "Father Flynn." "Is he dead?" "Mr. Cotter here has just told us. He was passing by the house." I knew that I were under observation, so I continued eating as if the news had not interested me. My uncle explained to old Cotter. "The youngster and he were great friends. The old chap taught him a great deal, mind you, and they say he had a great wish for him." "God have mercy on his soul," said my aunt piously. Old Cotter looked at me for a while. I felt that his little beady black eyes were examining me, but I would not satisfy him by looking up from my plate. He returned to his pipe and finally spat rudely into the grate. I wouldn't like children of mine, he said, to have too much to say to a man like that. How do you mean, Mr. Cotter? Asked my aunt. What I mean is, said old Cotter, it's bad for children. My idea is let a young lad run about and play with young lads of his own age and not be... Am I right, Jack? That's my principle too, said my uncle. Let him learn the boxer's corner. That's what I'm always saying, that Rosicrucian there. Take exercise. While I were in Epper, every morning of my life we had a cold bath, winter and summer. And that's what stands me now. Education's all very fine and large. Mr. Cotter might take a pick of that leg of mutton, he added to my aunt. No, not for me, said old Cotter. My aunt brought the dish from the safe and laid it on the table. Why do you think it's not good for children, Mr. Cotter, she asked. It's bad for children, said old Cotter, because their minds are so impressionable. When children see things like that, it has an effect. I cram my mouth with stare about the fear I might give utterance to my anger. Tiresome old red-nosed imbecile. It was late when I fell asleep. Though I was angry with old Cotter for alluding to me as a child, I puzzled my head to extract meaning from his